the luxury of really making what we wanted to make, and a whole lot of talented people with us.
Yeah, and the number one thing I'd like to say that makes Dukes what it still is, and that they got so horrifically wrong on the movie. One of the things.
I told you, but you know how we felt about it.
Well, the biggest thing they got so wrong, and I just was at an event a couple weeks ago, some friends of mine at a car lot, and they had a Daisy Duke contest, and there were 16 women that entered the Daisy Duke contest, and 2 of them were really, really pretty, but they had a certain, they didn't know that they were really pretty, they didn't know that they were sexy, they had no idea, and I voted for them. The ones that won were the kind of sleazy, slutty, Ram Peters sort of Daisy Duke lookalikes, you know, and they were pretty and they were nice girls, but their whole take on what Daisy Duke was kind of a slut. Pardon me, the kids I call out hell these days. But Kathy Bach brought to Daisy Duke an integrity and an innocence that nobody has really done before in any kind of a character. There was a show, Sheriff Lobo, or so there was some show on at the same time where was it Heather Thomas?
Oh, she was on Fall Guy.
Fall Guy. There was a girl on Sheriff, beautiful girl, but they had her doing all these kind of, you know, later on Jessica Simpson leaning with her butt out and all that sort of stuff. And to me, that is absolutely not Daisy Duke. So what made our show great to watch, because obviously Daisy Duke is a beautiful woman to look at, but the fact that she didn't seem to realize it, and neither did we. You know, today if we did Dukes of Hazzard, some producer would have Bo and Luke looking over at Daisy when she didn't notice and going, oh. We never did any of that on Dukes of Hazzard. We never will, and they shouldn't have on the movie. Oh no, not in Alabama. Hazard Town? Hazard Town, sure, why not? Hazard Town, like Zombieland.
I told everybody that we would do another one.
I'm trying to pitch, I'm trying to get their attention again. For some reason, they don't realize what Dukes of Hazzard is. And that's also one of the reasons why it was so good way back then, because not only were we far away from the studio, but we were inconsequential. Even though we were the #1 show,
nobody understood us.
Nobody understood us, and nobody went to a dinner party and said, oh, I'm a producer on Dukes of Hazzard. We were the
red-headed stepchild.
The red-headed stepchild. Yeah. That's what we were. And we still are, because I think Dukes could do every bit as well. The Star Trek movie was so good. And it was so good because they took the source material and they honored it. And they honored everybody in it. The Dukes of Hazzard movie, they took the source material and they just kind of pissed all over it. It was just awful. And it doesn't need to be that way.
If you guys would have seen the original,
I'm so sorry.
If you would have seen the original script, which I saw, it was...
Even worse.
The worst thing you ever saw. They got cold feet halfway through and they had to change it.
That's what they missed in the movie to me, is even Boss Hogg and, you know, all the bad guys on your show, no matter what they did to your characters, if an outside influence came in, you guys were all a family.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to relate to. It's like there was forgiveness. You guys used forgiveness on the show a lot. You know, you forgave them for all the things they were trying to do to you, and people don't get that nowadays, and they can't write it that way.
No.
And I think that's what, I mean, in the movie, to me, I mean, I think I saw maybe half of it once, but to me, Burt Reynolds' character was just horrible as Boss. I mean, not that he portrayed the part, but the character was not the way the character was on the show. He was just really, really nasty.
Yeah, and that was a shame because Burt wanted to do it.
He could, yeah.
He wanted to do it right, and he actually punched the director sometime during the movie.
Good for him.
Good for him. Yeah, God bless Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, we love him.
He was and is a great friend of the Dukes of Hazzard. So the only one on it right, wound up because of the way they cut things together and because of what they really made him do.
Yeah.
It was...
That's what I said, it wasn't him personally, it was just...
No,
he was told to do it.
Because he was a great friend of Saul.
Do you remember when Cooter was a girl?
Cooter was a girl and
Cooter was a girl chasing Daisy.
still in love with Daisy?
Yeah. And
There you go.
when Willie, Uncle Jesse, was a big pothead. I don't know how much of that remained in the movie. I mean, see, that's what I mean.
There are innuendos of that in
Show
the
it
movie.
was like National Lampoon. They should have made another movie, but
If you want to see a movie that's kind of has the feeling of Dukes of Hazzard, if you haven't seen it, it's a shameless plug for a movie I made, but I made it out of my car, my truck. My family's in it, and it's called Collier and Company, Hot Pursuit. You can get it online on eBay or somewhere, but check it out. It has that feeling. It's not a big, beautiful, blockbuster-looking movie, but there's cars and chases and stuff. And check it out, because I really do think that we're the
and it
only
has
ones
his
that know how to
adorable
do it.
daughter, Karis, in it.
Yeah, the biscuits. The
Yes.
biscuits.
I think they just did, the man that created Dukes of Hazzard, Guy Waldron, was from here, and what he really saw it as here, giving it really a southern feel, and it was, in that day, it was cheaper to film here than it was there, and they didn't care about us at the studio, didn't really want to make room for us, and so they gave a 6-show order and said, go make something, here's the money, and they just...
Yeah, Guy knew all about, Guy lived in Atlanta, knew all about
Yeah.
Conyers and Social Circle and Covington. And Conyers, if anybody remembers Smokey and the Bandit, Conyers that's where they filmed Smokey and the Bandit, and they filmed it out in Helen, and Jerry Reed even said something about going to Conyers and pick up a load of manure. But I mean, so Conyers was famous, Smokey and the Bandit. You don't get much more famous than that.
He has a question too.
Yes.
Right here.
I just want to say thank you. When I was 10, 11, 12, I loved Friday nights. I knew I was going home to watch the Dukes that night. I didn't want to go to nobody's house and play. That was family night. Family, I think that. And my mom, who we still watch, she's in the nursing home, we still watch. She loved the Enos Davey relationship. That was so cool.
Thank you. But you had to have your homework done first, right? We don't have that tool as parents anymore.
The gentleman in the orange shirt, stuff my...
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Of course, when I was a kid, I watched Dukes of Hazzard and Incredible Hulk on the same night and everything.
Oh,
And then, you know, recently, of course, you were in Smallville and for a few years there. Now, I also know that you've done some other films, like you mentioned that Collier and Company, and then you did like a film I still haven't had a chance to see yet with, I think, David White, some kind of comedy film, right?
Oh, yeah, yes. Second Chances, I think it was called.
Okay.
It had several names.
Yeah, and I've seen you like, you know, with Paul Jr., you know, talking sometimes and everything. I was wondering, you know, with the more sci-fi element that Smallville is, have you ever thought of, you know, doing any of the movies that are coming out, like, you know, based on Ted Decker's work and Frank Peretti's and stuff like that?
I would, I'd love to, but they have to be interested first, so we'll see. I'd really like to be involved. I don't understand, actually, why after Smallville, why more sci-fi stuff didn't come my way. I did one movie that was on the Sci-Fi Channel that was absolutely not sci-fi. I don't know what that was. It was terrible. It was Lake Placid 2. Oh my God. I used to be able to argue to my wife because she'd say, why did you do that stupid movie? And I'd say, sweetheart, you have to understand, you don't know it's a stupid movie while you're doing it. Well, in Lake Placid 2, somehow I had a feeling. But I would love to. We'll see. There's actually, there's a movie I forgot all about. It's called 10,000 Days. And I think there's a website. At the moment, it's just webisodes. We did a couple, but it's a comet hits the planet and knocks it out of its orbit. and it gets increasingly colder day after day after day, and the show starts 10, or movie, they're not really sure what it is right now. MGM might pick it up, but the movie starts 10,000 days after the comet hit the planet, and I'm in that, and it looks incredible. So maybe that'll happen for me. I don't know.
I forgot, I did Mr. 10% too. You guys, I'm sorry, I don't push my career. I should tell you.
Push it.
Mr. 10%, I played the sixth ex-wife of the worst agent in Hollywood. The guy that created Home Improvement he's starring in the show. He's written it for himself, and it's very funny how I get my money out of him.